It was a chilly autumn evening in 1995 when the small town of Ravenswood witnessed a bizarre incident that would leave its residents bewildered and frightened. The town, nestled deep within the English countryside, was known for its picturesque landscapes and friendly locals. However, on that fateful evening, a sense of unease settled over Ravenswood like a shroud. It began with the disappearance of 17-year-old Emily Wilson, a bright and cheerful high school student who was last seen walking home from the local library. Her parents, frantic with worry, reported her missing to the authorities, but the police found no signs of foul play or struggle. As the night wore on, more people vanished, each one disappearing into thin air. The victims all had one thing in common: they had attended a bonfire party at the old oak tree on the outskirts of town the night before. The party, an annual tradition, had been a joyous affair, with laughter, music, and dancing around the roaring flames. But as the investigation unfolded, it became clear that something sinister had occurred at that party. Witnesses reported seeing a figure in a black hooded cloak lurking around the edges of the gathering, but whenever anyone approached, the figure vanished. The police were baffled, and the townsfolk were gripped by fear. Rumors spread like wildfire, with some claiming to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the woods, while others spoke of ghostly apparitions and unexplained noises. As the days passed, the disappearances continued, with no signs of the victims or any leads on their whereabouts. The town was paralyzed with fear, and the police were no closer to solving the mystery. It was then that a local journalist, Sarah Lee, decided to dig deeper into the disappearances. She discovered a dark history surrounding the old oak tree, where the bonfire party had taken place. According to local legend, the tree was once the site of a horrific ritual, in which a group of robed figures had summoned a malevolent entity from beyond the grave. The ritual, said to have taken place over a century ago, had unleashed a terrible evil upon the town, which had lain dormant for years, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Sarah's investigation led her to an ancient tome hidden away in the local library's archives, which revealed the dark secrets of the ritual and the true nature of the evil that had been unleashed. As she delved deeper into the mystery, she realized that the disappearances were not random events, but were, in fact, connected to the ritual and the malevolent entity that had been summoned. The entity, it seemed, was still at large, feeding on the fear and terror of the townsfolk. Sarah's findings, however, came at a great personal cost. She began to experience strange and terrifying occurrences, which she believed were connected to the entity. She would find strange symbols etched into the walls of her home, and would hear disembodied whispers in the dead of night. It became clear that she had stumbled into something much larger and more sinister than she had ever imagined. In the end, Sarah's investigation led her to a shocking conclusion: the entity was not just a creature of myth and legend, but a real, malevolent force that had been awakened by the ritual. The disappearances, she discovered, were not just random events, but were, in fact, a result of the entity's influence. The entity, it seemed, was still at large, waiting for its next victim. The town of Ravenswood was left to pick up the pieces, trying to make sense of the horrific events that had unfolded. The mystery of the disappearances remained unsolved, but one thing was certain: the town would never be the same again. The memory of that horrific autumn would haunt the residents of Ravenswood for generations to come, a reminder of the terror that lurked in the shadows, waiting to strike.